What's up, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Chromecast. My name's Joe. I'm joined here today by Robbie.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And Gabriel.
Hello, everyone.
And we cannot forget.
Dang it, I was going to mention the fact that he said hello real fast versus last week being really slow.
Yeah.
Hoping to throw you off just for a second so you would forget.
I'm moving right along. We cannot forget to introduce
Google I.O.
the man that makes all of this possible. You know, the man behind the camera, Andrew Cannon. What? Where's Andrew?
Well, he's probably mad.
Where's Andrew?
I think
who's recording?
No,
Did anybody press record
after last week?
Are these rolling?
That he
probably did and then left.
Anymore. Yeah,
he's pretty upset. I think we just need to call him. I think he's pretty upset. He's probably off.
Sulking.
He's sulking. No, he's protesting.
Andy Cam.
Andy Cannon camera. Oh, there he is.
Guys.
There he is.
Oh, hey, what's up, dude?
Sorry, I didn't know I was needed. I was just here cleaning my new shoes.
There you go.
Dope new kicks. Are they the Tree Line? Is that their official name?
Air Max 1, yes.
Tree line.
Tree Line.
Tree?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like a line of trees.
Are they
Forest?
part of the whole like recycled thing and all that, or is the Tree Line just
It's
because
just
of the
the
color
color.
scheme?
No, they're actually made out of the forest.
I mean, that would be dope.
I'm just kidding. Did you find those Google ones yet?
No, not
So
yet.
I got to looking more closely at them. I thought they were like branded Android or something. They're not. So I guess
Just a color
I
scheme.
found some used ones for sale. I think it's just a.
You can customize on Nike, so I wonder if
Guess
they
so.
just
Maybe that's what
customized
they
a
did.
handful of pairs
Yeah.
for people.
You got to let people in on what you're talking about.
So it's
Shoes,
a pair
man.
of what I don't know which are they mids?
They're Jordan 1 mids.
Mids,
Yeah.
and they're all like Android colors. But apparently, Google did some swag bags for Google I/O. For I don't know if they sent them out or if these were people that went to the conference got them, but they had some.
Throw them
Are
up
they?
on screen.
What are they? They're Nike. Give me the full name.
The Jordan 1 mid.
Jordan 1 mid. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll throw it up on the
Means
camera.
nothing to me.
On the screen, on the camera. Andrew camera. I'm thinking of camera.
Andrew Cannon camera.
He wasn't there. It got me. My brain stopped
Didn't you
working.
get rid of him?
No. Maybe one time. Get rid of him once.
All right.
Just one time.
You got to go.
Okay. All right. And he's gone. And just like that.
I know, but if something goes wrong, we'll be in trouble.
We need to
Yeah,
bring
we
it
need
back.
it back.
Andrew Cannon camera.
Oh, guys.
And he's back.
That is
I
exhausting.
don't know.
What was the genie in Pee Wee's Playhouse? That's what it reminds me of. They always summoned him.
How does it feel to evaporate and then come back? How's that? Does
It's
it hurt?
rough.
Okay.
So I don't know if you noticed, I actually got hit by a car.
Right.
This is worse. So
Ooh, worse.
not
Sorry.
Dang.
Then we won't do it again.
Thank
I
you.
always
do it
wonder, is it
again.
like
We'll do it
the
again.
blip? I mean,
Yeah.
do
I'll
those
refrain.
people experience like 5 years of
So we should
torment?
just snap.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, can you
I need a gauntlet.
Can you do the gauntlet?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And superimpose a gauntlet on my hand.
Yeah.
I am. I don't know what I could be.
Line.
I'm not
Line.
All right, what am
Andrew.
I? Who am I?
Andy Cam.
Batman.
Man needs a line. So
Yeah.
So Andy Cam is back. I'm sorry, last week I totally forgot to introduce him. Gabe had his slow intro.
I
and
like
then
my
I got
intro to be
confused.
dramatic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But we've mentioned I/O. My phone is buzzing in my pocket, of course. Soon. I thought
Scam
about this
call.
thing. I thought
Scam call?
no, it's
after
group
last
chat.
week, my phone is on the table, but I have not touched it, and I won't touch it unless there's an emergency. But I won't know there's an emergency because it's on silent. So if there's an emergency,
I won't touch
There you go.
It's just going to have to be an emergency for the next hour and 30 minutes.
Well, I mean, part of it. We're in the podcast universe right now.
My daughter cracks me up. I'll get a text or a message or something, and she'll be like, "Dad, you got a message?" I'm like, "Okay," because when I'm at home, if Discord or email, whatever, I'm like, "Okay."
I'll get around
What if
to
it's
it.
important? I'm like, "Honey, this might
It's probably not.
Yeah, this might blow your mind, but when I was your age, if you called someone's house and they didn't answer, guess what you did? You called back later because we didn't have an answering machine.
I called. There was one time I remember calling one of my friends. They didn't have an answering machine, so I just kept calling.
Yeah.
I figured, well, maybe they're not paying attention or so. I just remember calling over and over again. Like, what a weirdo.
jerk.
Oh wow,
Like, man,
That's
obsessive
funny.
much.
yeah. I mean, if there was an emergency, growing up, I grew up on a farm. So, I mean, usually we were back on 70 acres and nowhere near a phone. But
Yeah.
if there was an emergency and you called someone's house and they didn't answer, you just went and tended to the emergency and then you just call them later. Or you go find it.
And it creates this certain anxiety in people now.
Absolutely.
That, there is that constant, like, oh, wait, we have this constant availability, right? Like, we're always available to everyone all the time.
That's what we're trying
there's
to
an expectation that you have to, like,
teach
respond.
our daughter, and I'm trying to get better about it. I'm getting better at home of just putting my phone down and just it doesn't exist, whatever. But I've learned that I have to be better at that because she is very much a microwave person. It's like, right now, I want an explanation for everything. I need you to everything right now. I'm like, honey, you're going to have to learn that that's just not how the world works. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Whenever she has Neuralink hooked into her brain, it will be like that.
That's her
we do. I mean, we are connected. I mean, right now we have phones in our pockets that have, every answer
access
to
to
everything,
everything.
as long as you can ask good questions. Anywho, Google
and now,
I/O.
And now Google is that there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of
I/O was
AR, can we just start with that and just kind of get it out of the way? Because it gave me.
Sure,
I mean, you said it gave you goosebumps.
It did.
It got me.
Yeah.
It got me for a second.
Yeah, I got actually a little emotional.
Yeah.
Thinking about the scenarios. I've known a handful of people who are deaf in my years.
Yeah.
And the idea for them, like people that know ASL, for instance, like they know the language that they're using to speak, but if somebody else doesn't know it, like the communication is just completely blocked. And then if I also, not only can I not understand you as a deaf individual, I have a hard time communicating. I'm trying to give you like signs, to show you what I'm trying to say. And if, you can read lips to a certain extent, but you can't read everybody's lips. Yeah. In this situation right here, you can't read my lips at all.
Or with masks on.
Right. Yeah. And so there was all these issues, obviously that come up with that. But I mean, their whole presentation of it was also just, there's a mother-daughter on there that had language barriers for what they didn't explain why, but this, lady
it was
spoke
something
Mandarin.
they spoke two different dialects of a similar language, and for whatever.
I thought she spoke English.
I speak English. My mom speaks Mandarin, and it's like they didn't explain why, but they could have been estranged. Yeah, she could have been adopted.
Yeah, because it was something along the lines. She said something like, "I can understand." But
the mom.
The mom said she could understand.
She could get English, but she didn't know how to respond.
Right, and it was.
And so, like them putting those glasses on, these AR glasses, they're super early prototypes, but Google choosing to lean into that part of the AR experience, I think, was amazing. And so, like, to be able to see real time translation, like to know that it's. I don't know if these Pixel Buds will do it better than the ones before. They've tried this with Pixel Buds.
Yeah, sure.
The original ones, they've done it with. Google Assistant and stuff, and like these translation powers that Google keeps working on keep getting better, but being a real-time thing, like in your ear, I don't even know how that works. Like you have to wait because I can't be listening to this and you at the same time. Like it's too much.
Whereas
unless I can just turn you off But visually you can be talking, and if it's transcribing,
I'm
right
reading
here,
what you're saying. Yeah.
Right, that's the cool thing, because I have some headphones in there that are designed just for that. They're called time kettles, and they're made for like virtual meetings and when you're on the phone and stuff. So you're not hearing the other person. Okay. It's going to the headphones. The headphones are translating them to you in real time, and then vice versa. The app translates it back through them, which is awesome. But this, like Robbie was saying, this is a visual thing where you don't break interaction. And the fact that they're glasses, because that was one point, the guy that was talking, he was saying he's looking right at me. So to me, the interaction isn't being broken because I'm not focused on the translating that's happening. I'm focused on the conversation.
It's like translated closed captioning for the world.
Yeah.
So like that application, and I don't know, Andrew, I don't know if we put that photo, the one photo a couple people have used with like the little, obviously they're
heads-up display.
They're trying to show you graphically with a graphic overlay, like kind of what the person's seeing. There wasn't any shot through the glasses to actually show what it actually looked like. No, I don't think.
I don't even know how they would get that.
I don't know if they would have to film it the right way. But these glasses are pretty decently sized. Some of these ones
they don't look ridiculous.
Was it the Google Glass, the original Google Glass, or was it the Apple that had the bar, like the big huge bar across the top or on the side?
Google Glass was like the top part of a glasses frame, but then they had
like
one
the
big
little
glass
thing,
prism thing right up here.
a little strange, but these look in
there's a reason people called them glass holes, people that wore them.
So Google Glass, a lot of people look at it as they were a flop and a failure, but just recently, I think it was last year, they sort of repurposed that, and I think they're not marketing them, I think they're licensing that whole concept to factories and stuff like that. They're very useful, but it's not a consumer marketable device. This is something where consumers are going to see this, and they're going to be. You have someone who travels a lot. I mean, I know a guy who works for something that has to do with our local college, but he's in a different country every other week.
Yeah,
the guy that bought the Tesla.
Yeah.
All he does is travel. I can imagine this would be huge for him.
Yeah. I think
you can't learn 50 different languages. I mean,
with this machine learning, especially some of the stuff they were talking about the pathways and stuff of how the machine learning is now translating. Insane. Like, we could sit and talk about some of that stuff, the software stuff.
Yeah, so the software stuff at the beginning was wild. Like when they were talking about language barriers and translation. I mean, them feeding into, because was that the Palm thing?
Yeah,
I forget what it stands for, but it's another language model, and it was basically saying what Joe was just saying just then, is like, you can train it in the sentence structures of a particular language, and then it begins to now understand the pattern of language structure for that language and how that looks parallel to this other language.
As opposed to traditional translation, which takes a known language and a known language and then connects the two. Yeah. This actually uses the AI learning model to... It can discover and learn the new language on its own.
Yeah, without data input prior.
But the parallel part of it is the interesting part, because now it begins to understand turn of phrase in English and how that same what that turn of phrase means, and now I also know the same turn of phrase in Mandarin, say, to be able to bridge that gap, because
they don't translate one to one. Yeah,
it's just like translation is just not that simple. Yeah. This whole movie made about it, Lost in Translation.
Yeah,
for that reason.
It is. It's wild. But so like we could sit and talk about that stuff for a while. But let's move on to some of the hardware. Let's get through. What do we want to talk about first? We want to talk about the phones first, maybe?
Sure.
Let's talk about
by the way, I do want to point out, we put a post up on the website last week about, maybe 2 weeks ago, Google's acquisition of a company called Raxion.
Oh, yeah.
And, they make micro LEDs that are 300 times smaller than what the pixels look like on your cell phone, basically. And so it allows for pixels that small. And so I want to say, like, in crazy brightness, like up to 1 million nits and all this stuff. The tech is nuts. Google fully acquired them and finished that. And so it's like, well, it could be for AR, it could be for VR, could be for, some sort of display or whatever. I feel like
pretty sure it's for these glasses.
100% they bought them to put that stuff in it, because you imagine the display is going to be tiny.
Yeah.
Probably a centimeter or something like that, but it needs to be ultra sharp. Well, this would allow for that completely, and it's got I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they put a display in a spot this close that your eye can see.
Focuses.
No idea how that works.
How does your eye focus with it? Yeah.
I don't know.
What if you have glasses?
It's amazing.
Then what do you do?
I'm not kidding. My son, after watching that part of the I.O. yesterday, my 7-year-old, said, do you think they'll make them, when they make them, do you think they'll make them prescription? Because I can't wear them if they're not prescriction. And I was like, I don't know, man.
Got to get some content.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, can you order them and have your prescription?
You would think so. I think, what is it? Amazon does some sort of, there's a smart speaker, but you can get your prescription in them.
Yeah, I would imagine they'll have to do something like that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough to sell.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't need a prescription, obviously, they'll probably sell just a clear lens or whatever. But I want it because I want to be like Tony Stark.
Yeah. Well, it's
straight up Edith Fields.
Because they talked about all these other things, like that. The only other software thing I'll mention right now is the new updates to search. So they're talking about how we've done this and added this,
anything,
and lens and
anywhere,
all this, and it's like, okay, you can take a picture, say, of this plant. And I could take the picture, but also ask a question: where can I get one of these?
Yeah.
Or what is this? Or how do I grow this?
How to
or
water
whatever.
this? How to plant this?
And can figure out what this is by the picture. But then they showed the thing where you can
the immersive search. Yes.
You can pan like a whole shelf of stuff.
The chocolate bars.
Yeah.
The
and they showed all the prices and ratings.
Which
and
ones are nut free? Which ones have good ratings?
I want to filter all this stuff. Okay, well, take all that, put it on your face.
Yeah.
Like, and just be able to look at this and with the Google Assistant getting more conversational again, like they talked about, like all of this stuff is lining up to give us.
Can you imagine walking down the street
experience.
in New York? We're in New York doing something, and we're in an area we've not been in before, and we're looking for a coffee shop or a pizza place or something. And you click, you say, "Hey, assistant, show me whatever," and then you get.
You get
in AR.
Yeah, you get your heads up directions because they already do that in Google Maps.
Fluffy's is over there. They got a 10-star rating because they're awesome. And then that coffee shop over there, the barista's really rude. Don't go in there.
Yeah.
Which we know where that's at already. But anyways, those are practical, real life applications that Google, obviously, from what they've shown yesterday, is already capable of doing.
They're clearly
forget Neuralink. This stuff is.
Last thing on the glasses, do you think they will have some sort of indicator when they're on? So like societally, as we're sitting and talking, I'm trying to have a conversation with you and you're sitting there like,
I think
it's like, at least when you're looking at your phone's out in front of you, you can tell that someone's not paying attention to you.
I think the only thing they'll have to do, they'll
have like a little indicator on it.
There has to be an indicator that because surely they'll put a camera on these things.
Oh yeah.
It's going to have to be able to see what's going on. So I think anytime that camera is capturing data, there's going to have to be some sort of LED,
tiny little LED light or something.
But I think as far as like if you're talking to the assistant or whatever, and it's again, if I'm looking at this and it's giving me real time information, for instance, about this plant, that camera's got to be working. It 100%. Can't see it without it. So that I think the LED's on anytime it's delivering data. Probably. I think you have to.
And you have to have some sort of way of like turning it on and off. I feel like because sometimes you might just want to have, especially if they're your prescription. You're not going to want all the data all the time. You don't want your heads-up display on all the time, so you can turn it on and off.
You get the little green light on this, don't you? When the camera and stuff's on. So
cool stuff. I love it. I think it's really awesome. And some of the tech when they were describing these updates to search.
Can I install Ingress on the glasses?
Incredible.
That would be awesome.
That would be great.
Probably just run around with Pokemon in real life.
And think about how all this stuff will work. With augmented reality glasses, is most of your the games or something, for instance, that want to take advantage, it would almost be like a cast session or something over millimeter wave that I'm playing this. Would you like to,
heads up
take
display.
advantage of the heads up display? Sure. Hit the button and it's sending that to your glasses. Your glasses aren't running that. They don't need the processing power to run that.
It's just an extension.
It all needs to be an extension of your phone or your watch at that time.
Playing Pokemon Go in real life.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a
seeing
few,
it in real life.
Yeah, it's a few years out, but I mean, it'll take AR games to another level.
Oh gosh,
and it has the ability to do that, and the processing power's in your pocket. You got that.
Speaking of that, you remember Shooter IO or Father IO?
Father IO,
Man, what that
would be amazing.
What potential for them? They're gone. They died.
But my last point I'll make on this, I promise. Apple clearly is working on AR glasses as well, and I think Google probably put this out in an effort to leapfrog that just a little bit. The interesting part of all this will be, because it's not like Apple and Google will be the only ones. Like Samsung will probably try to come out with something. Like eventually this is going to be a thing. And when it is, I'm going to go ahead and place my bets on Google winning this war, only because they have the data, the AI, and the machine learning that'll actually make it worthwhile. Because somebody posted, I think on The Verge, they were talking about some of the societal things with what this would mean. But they were also talking about like the actual use case. Like, people don't want to just put a screen on their face, just have a screen on their face. Right. It needs to have like that killer app. Like if this is a new form factor, it needs to have a killer, like this application is mind boggling. They were like, what Google showed is that application. Like they did that. And now it can do a bunch of other things, but this is the application. And all these years of language processing and stuff like that, no one else has that.
Right.
Like,
and that's what
you think Siri can translate and do all this stuff
in real time.
Don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's Siri, and what Apple has as an assistant is an absolute joke compared to the computing power that exists with the Google Assistant. It's not even close.
Yep.
And nobody that's actually looking at it from a real perspective would think anything other. And it's because Google has the data sets to do stuff with
and
it.
That's what the theme of a lot of what Sundar was talking about yesterday is that they have come light years in their original Google's original goal was to organize the world's data and to be able to access, for people to be able to access it freely and in an organized way.
With a search query.
With the search. Everything was so much about search yesterday, and now that's what they've shifted their focus back to, but now they have products that work along with it. And Apple's always going to be that closed ecosystem. They don't have the data that Google has, and they're not serving information up the way that Google is, and they never will. That's not their goal. So
Yeah.
I agree with
Google-
Robbie 100%. When this becomes a standard thing, Google, there's no reason Google shouldn't win this hands down.
Yeah, and Google's Google's in the right spot to
And
to
it'll probably
do
work with
something like this.
iPhones anyway. So
Yeah,
I mean,
if they're smart,
probably.
that's what they need to do.
Probably,
yeah,
yeah.
you wouldn't want to be like, oh, this is only you have to have an Android phone. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Run everything through the Google app.
Because
Let
again,
that
it's
be the gateway.
services.
Yes, I mean Google is about being a horizontal company. It's services and software that are applied this way, not in this. Now, what we're going to talk about with all this hardware,
A little different.
it's a little
Yeah,
different.
a little different.
But I feel like we'll get to it. But I feel like the Pixel portfolio thing that they're going after, that we've said for years now that they should absolutely do, like mimic Apple in this for sure, is yet another way to basically align all your stuff so that you show other people how to do it.
Right.
And so
because
we'll
that's
get to
the
all
thing that they're doing. They're taking all of the search knowledge that they have and all the AI and machine learning, and they're finally getting their hardware department lined up with what they do so well. And that's what. So, but they showed a really cool demonstration in the developer keynote. They had a half pipe skateboard.
You watched that?
I
Sky Brown?
watched that part of it
like,
because it
good
was
for you.
really cool.
I think her name's Sky Brown. Is that her name?
Sky Brown.
Something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think so.
Andy Cam.
Yeah, awesome.
Help me out here.
Awesome skater. She's doing half pipe stuff.
Summon him.
Summon the Andy Cam.
I will evaporate you.
Yeah. So Google's gone beyond.
Sky Brown.
Yeah,
Cool.
Google's gone beyond just taking the data that they have and being able to serve it up using search. The AI and the machine learning is now, like we said with the language models, it's able to learn new things without a static X, to go with. So they showed her doing these moves. These moves were in the database. The cameras that they use for tracking would see her do the move, and it would correlate. That's this move. She had this height, this turn, whatever. Then they had her do a move that wasn't in the database. It then took all of the moves and the height and the angles, took that, pinged all of the search data that Google already has, and within seconds, it was like, oh yeah, that was this move, and it's exactly what it was.
The machines are going to take over.
But
Yeah,
then also,
100%.
learning and figuring out, oh, she was losing momentum here. You need to like pump here a little more, or you weren't popping off here. You could have gotten X, height. Elevation
so
or
for
whatever,
her to
but
be
you
able to
got this,
look
like-
at that and the data and extrapolate, okay, well, in order for me to achieve this or to improve that, then that's where I need to put my focus at.
Yeah.
We should do this for golf.
Yeah,
of course.
100%.
Let's just
Let's get a
point
bunch of
camera
Google
and give it
cameras
to
in
Google
here.
and be like, Google, I don't know.
Hey, can
Fix
you all,
my golf swing.
that team that you all had, can you all bring that to Elizabethtown, Kentucky,
Right
please?
here.
Bring that into our simulator room.
While you were talking, it reminded me, Jackson Lee that put his last post for us on the website was about Google Now, Google Assistant, all that kind of stuff. But his lead up, because he kind of does these longer form, like where he just really talks about a lot of stuff. I can't remember the name of the show he referenced in it.
Andy Cam.
I never watched it. If you can look at
I don't know why my
on the home screen,
Google Now.
editorial should be there in the sidebar. I can't remember the show.
Star Trek?
No,
You mentioned that here.
no, it was some I can't remember.
Deep
the name of
Space
it,
Nine.
but he said in it was a kind of a dystopian type thing, like the humans are not living on Earth, but they're still in the solar system or something. But his point in that was AI had not it's in the future, AI has evolved, but the way that they treated it in this show was more like, hey, AI has evolved and it's here to help us do all sorts of things. We can do all sorts of things faster because of AI.
It was The Expanse.
Oh, okay. There you go.
okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking Galaxy Quest because it's
And
very similar.
I've not seen it, but him talking about it's made me want to go watch it
Yeah,
now. But his point in that was like, Google moved with Google Now and all the stuff that it was doing to Google Assistant. And he talks about in The Expanse, like they use AI and all that kind of stuff. It's not so much as a thing that you talk to. Like it became an artificial intelligence that, I sat and had a conversation with. It's just artificial intelligence that helps us, that supplements humanity to do things that we wouldn't be able to do normally.
Right.
And so I try to have that look, like make the jokes all the time about the machines are, they're learning, they're going to come get us. I'm like, yeah, but if we handle it the right way, honestly, like there are things that it could create in humanity that could just be mind-boggling.
Absolutely. You look at, I mean, we've seen in previous IOs and other conferences where they've used, machine learning to diagnose things that doctors would never see on x-rays, because they take all of this data of millions or thousands and hundreds of thousands of patients and are like, okay, all of these things combined, we see that this person has something that's going to be cancer.
Right.
That's going to be a tumor.
Pattern recognition is great in humans, but it's finite.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you take artificial intelligence and point it at the right thing, like you can start seeing things that you, as a human, you're not going to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Cool stuff. We could have a whole different podcast about the assistant and machine learning. So let's talk about some hardware. Let's start with phones. Let's talk about the 6A, because that's the one that's going to be available first.
And first and foremost, we probably have to talk about the fact that I/O became a hardware event.
Yeah, let's discuss
we have it. We have it back here. We'll throw it on the screen as well.
What did we get? 5 products.
Portfolio now is what they're calling it.
So we just did 6, if you count the glasses.
Oh yeah.
6 pieces of hardware. And that's up from two hardware announcements over the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Since Google hardware became a thing. And so we recorded the A-roll for a video earlier this morning, and the script starts off kind of with that in mind, of this idea that I made some predictions going into I/O. We might even said something about it last week. Where I'm like, I don't know that there's going to be that much hardware.
About it before,
let's be honest. We always get hyped up about hardware. I bet you it's going to be at I/O because it's a big stage. And then nothing happened. They announced 0 hardware last year. Nothing. They didn't even hint at anything last year. And I think the year before that, too.
Last year was all quantum computing. And all that
I think the last time they announced a piece of hardware at Google I/O was 2019. The Pixel 3A.
3A.
And it was, it was in passing. It was like, oh, by the way, 3A is
So what was the
out.
other thing? It was Google Home.
Google Home
Yeah.
in 2016.
Original Home.
Mm-hmm. So two years out of 6 and 2 products total. And yesterday we saw, again, a couple of them are way out things, the glasses and the tablet we'll talk about, but 6 pieces of hardware. And then 90 minutes into the keynote, they said, we're going to bring out the Google hardware team. Like Rick Osterloh and all those guys came out.
The keynote was focused heavily on hardware, which I mean, all of these things are built on a bedrock of Google services, but for them to make a shift this big to be like, hey, this is what we're talking about, and by the way, here's a whole line of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new direction for them. Now, the interesting part is, like, Apple, for instance, at WWDC will come out and, usually a couple Macs, like the MacBook Pros or something like that. And then they'll do another event later, and they'll do iPads and, I don't know, something else. And then they'll have their iPhone event where they'll do it, and then they'll maybe put out an iPad mini, or I don't know. So they'll have like multiple things where they introduce multiple new stuff. I don't know that in the fall when Google comes out and actually unveils the Pixel 7 and the Pixel Watch, maybe the Fold comes along at that point, but there won't be a whole. It's not like they're done announcing these products and they're going to have a whole new set of products. Yeah. It's not quite there yet, but this is a big step in a different direction for them to include hardware at I/O that is a developer software.
Yeah, conference. I think by 2024 we'll be at a place where they are doing a TikTok of here's this hardware, here's that hardware. Because you have a couple of these products. Well, one of these products doesn't come till next year. 2 of them come in the fall, and then by the time by the time the Pixel 8 comes around, they will probably be on a pace to have a semi-annual hardware releases.
Yeah. I mean, and this is discounting anything that's Nest related. Technically, I don't know if they put that in there because they're the whole Pixel portfolio. They're using that language. I feel like Google's hardware division is going to be Pixel something or another. Like Nest is its own thing over here, and so that stuff will get handled in its own way.
Away?
I don't think so. I just think at Google's hardware events, I don't know that we'll see Google Homes announced anymore. I mean, when did they announce the Gen 2?
The Nest Hub Max?
Nest Hub. The Nest Hub Gen 2.
That was a separate Nest event because they the PR company emailed us about that. Yeah,
and I could see some of that stuff just being its own thing.
Yeah, it was around the Nest Audio. Yeah, that was the Nest Audio and the Nest.
Now they put the Nest Audio in last year's because it was the hardware event that was online. That was right. The COVID one, the 2020 one. But again, their vision has changed a lot, I think. And by the time we get to October 2022 versus October 2020, I mean, even if the vision wasn't good, we were in the middle of pandemic crisis mode at that time. So I mean, like, they were just kind of scattered and all over the place, and so it does feel like there's just a new focus. Around, or a renewed focus.
And I wonder too, like, I think it's most likely that we will get into this kind of semi-annual flow with hardware. I think that makes the most sense. It could also just be that these were kind of pent up from delays. And they were like,
yeah, absolutely.
We got to get these out the door. We don't want to wait until October to get these, the new Pixel Buds out. We don't want to.
I really hope that they see that and see the reaction to this.
Yeah.
Joanna,
they're getting a ton of press right now.
Joanna, one of our writers, she said this morning she woke up in her Feedly. I think did she say
she uses Feedly? Yeah.
She said there were like 750 new articles in her feed, like just from since last night.
Yeah.
And so I mean, she only follows obviously like tech related stuff for the most part. And so I mean,
lots
clearly,
of publicity.
Yeah, people are talking about it, and I love Google search. I love all the stuff that we've talked about up to this point. But when it comes to like the zeitgeist and grabbing people's attention for what they're doing now, products that are going to be buyable,
consumer,
in the next 6 months, those are the products. Those are the things that get people really buzzing about stuff. And so, I think it's wise for them to take I/O's a big enough stage. Start, make it bigger with hardware announcements, because now a bunch of people sat through that keynote to wait for those hardware announcements 100%. And heard all of that stuff.
Yeah, and not only, I mean, Google's become more public with I/O as far as public facing, but this is the first year it was on the new tab page, it was on Google Search, it was on the YouTube,
Chromecast with Google TV.
Yeah, Google TV.
Put it right there front and center.
They wanted the public to know about this.
Yep.
100%.
And they should. It's a great event.
Yeah.
But it's always just been so developer focused that I think that makes some people just go, whatever.
Right.
These are highly conceptual things. Last year was a perfect example. I mean, they spent 30 minutes talking about quantum computing. And it's like, that's neat.
There's some people in the crowd that understand that, but I would say even the vast majority of the crowd was kind
of like, what?
No.
What's happening?
And this is amazing that you all are doing this.
Yeah, I think the only part they lost me with yesterday was they hung on to the privacy and security stuff for too long.
Yes, it was like 12,
and I get it.
It was like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, they're trying to make it clear. Yes, we're collecting data, but we're detaching that data from you as a person.
Right.
Like it's not connected to you, and we don't even have the ability. We've created the thing where we can't
actually get it.
Go get it. We can't. We have no option to do so. And the in that part they talked about the ads. They're gonna have that new. I can't remember what it's called, but where you'll be able to go add be your own ad manager, so you can go into and say like, I don't like these types of ads. I'd rather see more of these types of ads. If I'm gonna have to look at ads, let me curate it.
Or like, hey, I was researching this pair of shoes. I bought them. I don't need to keep seeing ads for
that's
them.
The thing. That's the thing I don't get. Google,
my everything in mine is PXG right now.
And I don't get that, because Google obviously has, you get recommendations, you get reminders from your email, you get suggestions to unsubscribe to stuff. I just bought a washer and dryer. Google knows I bought a washer and dryer because I have receipts in my email. I have my credit card is linked to my Google, but they know I bought it. Stop giving me Google is smart enough to do that.
Yeah,
I washer and dryer ads everywhere.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay.
I even get golf club ads just because he's sitting by me.
That's right.
PXG baby, PXG.
Okay, let's. We might split this one up into three. So let's take a quick break for an ad, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Today's episode of the Chromecast is brought to you by Visor. Do you manage your school district's Chromebook one-to-one program? If you're tasked with getting hundreds or thousands of Chromebooks ready for students this summer, you'll want to listen to this. Visor is a Chromebook and IT asset management solution designed specifically for school districts. Visor seamlessly integrates with the Google Admin Console and your student information system, including PowerSchool. With Visor, you can easily see which student has which Chromebook, manage repairs, and even automate disabling lost or stolen devices while notifying parents, all in one click. To find out more and to lock in a 20% discount, go to visor.cloud/unboxed. That's VIZOR.cloud/unboxed, or just click the link in the show notes. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we're going to get to the hardware now, for sure.
But real quick,
just kidding. There was hardware.
Lots of hardware. Let's start with the 6A, because, like I said, that's the one that will be available first.
It's phone.
Not true.
They talked about the
not first.
7, and I was talking about the phones, phone options. The 7 and 7 Pro were also teased, which was very cool. But 6A first. Let's talk through that.
Did they actually say 7 Pro?
I don't think I think they just said Pixel 7, didn't they?
I thought it said 7 Pro in there.
They might have.
Wrong.
There will be. It's not wrong. I just don't know what they said it.
Pixel 7 SE.
6A. So
XL.
7 axle.
7 axles. Love it.
7 axle.
7.
So yeah, Pixel 6A. No surprises at all. I don't think. I think everything that we thought.
The only somewhat pleasant surprising is that I can't remember. Did the 5A have any water resistance whatsoever?
Ooh, I don't
know.
I did not expect the 6A to have any. It's not as good as the 6, but it is IP67.
I'll be darned.
5A was 67 as well.
It was? Okay, well, I was wrong. There you go.
Stand corrected.
Which means it is dust resistant and it will withstand a submersion up to a meter for 30 minutes, which is pretty
good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you drop your phone in the pool and it takes you 30 minutes to get out.
Well, it probably was gone anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but I think we had talked about the idea that it would end up with the 5A pixel cameras. Yeah. That's what happened.
Yep.
Not surprised, and not really a big deal.
No.
I
Still
honestly,
good cameras.
They're great cameras because when you look at the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, even though they're higher megapixels, they're binned. So they bin those down to 12 megapixel cameras, basically. So it's not that big of a difference, and it's not like the 5A isn't still taking amazing photos.
Right.
The Pixel 5 is still taking amazing photos. So
it's all about that Google.
Yeah, it's the
computation.
Software. Yeah, it's computational, and you get all the computational fun. So you get Magic Eraser. They talked about Magic Eraser getting like an upgrade. So
which is so
color
cool.
correction.
Yeah, they fixed the color
So
of
cool.
the igloo thing next to the kid. So that's the fun in Google's cameras.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, it's got the best hardware. We all know the best hardware doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So it's it's exactly what we expected. All of the leaks were pretty spot on. They did say the screen is 6.1.
6.1. They said
6.2.
6.2. They said 6.1.
That's a rumor. It was actually equipped with 6.1.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's exactly what we thought, but we
Massive.
Yeah, we
massive
didn't know
difference.
if the price was going to be the same. It could have went either way. It could have been $499, which still would have been great, but it's $449, which is phenomenal. This phone might kill the Pixel 6.
Yeah, there's a couple things left off.
Yeah.
I do wish they still would have stuck with the earphone jack or headphone jack. That would have been nice, just because it's a. Did the 5A? I think it still had a headphone.
Yeah,
jack.
because everyone's writing articles this morning
Yeah, it's
that
not there.
after making fun of Apple, Google has now killed it.
Yeah, completely. I think because it's an affordable phone, it makes sense to think, hey, if people are shopping for this, they probably don't have the extra income to go and drop $200 on your new Pixel Buds Pro.
Right. But on the flip side of that, we've made the point multiple times. How many really good sets of headphones are there?
There
out
are.
there? I mean, there
But
just are.
Wired headphones are $3.
That's true.
Right. So
That is true.
until we have wireless headphones that are decent for
Everyone has a set
$15.
of LG phone headphones in a
Right.
drawer somewhere.
somewhere floating around.
but hopefully they'll ship it with the connector. Yeah. You know, a dongle's not great, but it does get you by. So what else? 1080p, 60 hertz.
60
screen.
hertz, which
that's what I said
I
was
had
going to
hoped
happen.
for 90, but I can totally see. I mean, it's 60 for what it is. It's fine. It's going to be very, very fast. It's 2 gigs less of RAM than the 6, but you've got a lesser hertz screen. Same battery, I think. It's
it's close. It's a
huge
4,000
battery.
change.
Yeah, this
Which
thing's
the rumors were 5,000 milliamp.
Yeah.
I was like, that would be amazing because it would be like a 2-day phone with
Yeah.
that kind of battery.
This thing is going to be a fast phone. Most people are going to pick this up. Average phone users are going to pick this up and think it's just as good as any flagship device that they would.
Yeah,
sell.
it'll
Seems
run.
like the,
it'll run just as fast as the Pixel 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally will be the same exact
Right.
thing. It's a 1080p screen. It's, it has a little bit less RAM, like Gabe
Yeah.
said, but
For
at
the
end of
average person.
yeah, it's not going to be a big deal.
So no wireless charging, obviously. That was a big thing.
they
to drop.
cut that.
So it's aluminum frame, thermo-molded composite chassis, whatever that means.
So my guess is
Plastic.
it's shiny plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the
Shi-
back
shiny.
instead of glass.
Shiny plastic. They make it look glass right there, but it's not.
If it's glossy and
Yeah.
it's really good plastic,
You probably won't even
once you slap it in your case, you're not going to know it all.
That's right.
Exactly.
I often forget that my phone's like pink.
Bezels.
And that's one of the weird things that Google did with the 5A. I remember we did a little unboxing of it, and it was like, oh, it's got a plastic. This plastic feels nice, and kind of got grilled on YouTube. They're like, it's metal. Like it's not plastic. So the 5A was all metal, which was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back to plastic.
Yeah, I mean,
the 4A, the 3A were both mostly plastic.
Fine.
And
It seems to me like the camera bump is a little less.
way more narrow. 'Cause
Yeah.
you got to think about that 12.2 megapixel shooter that was in the Pixel 2, Pixel 3, Pixel 4.
It's at almost
It's
flat.
flush.
Yeah.
Like look at the Pixel 4. It's basically flush. I mean, that camera bump is like this tiny little thing.
Tiny, yeah.
So that's all. They don't need all that extra room and
Right.
space. And that's, love it or hate it. Like you need that extra room for these higher end camera modules and
Right.
stuff. So it's just part of it.
They are doing millimeter wave, which is for some people. If you're Verizon and
AT&T, I think, has it,
Yeah.
and in that the millimeter wave one is going to be 500.
Yeah.
So that's what people are like. It isn't 49. Well, it is
Yeah.
for most people.
But again, you'll be able to order it on July 21st. You can order it from Google, or most people on the 28th will probably be able to walk into their carrier, and I would bet you can get this thing free out of the gate. I would bet if you have an upgrade or
if
a
it's
trade-in or
T-Mobile, they'll
whatever.
have. You can trade in.
This can.
Here. If you bring us a shoe,
Not Paul the Plantipus, though.
Nope.
Not him. He's
Like,
invaluable.
what about do you have a dirty sock? We'll take that for.
Does that work for you?
What about a broken Galaxy S4? We'll
Sure.
take that.
We'll give you 400.
I
for
have
it.
one of those.
I do too.
And 2 Galaxy S3s, as a matter of fact.
Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my
I'll
S4.
have to look around. See, I've been on that trade game with T-Mobile for the last.
Robbie's
little
out of
while.
phones.
I'm running out of phones, like crappy phones I got sitting around. So
Get on Swappa again.
yeah.
I'm glad, Robbie.
I did that one time.
Yeah.
I bought a $50 iPhone 6.
Yeah.
I think, and the trade value was like $500 for whatever it was I was going after. So I did it with the Pixel 6s for my kids.
Right.
Yeah, I almost
free trade.
I almost bought a used phone to trade on the OnePlus 10, but thankfully I was one day out from driving up there and getting it. And when Robbie changed his mind,
Yeah, there were
on
a
his,
couple little issues, and I was like, man, I just keep going back to Pixel. I got
Yeah.
that on my board of articles to write. Like, what is it about?
But now
Pixel
that-
just
now
keeps
that my
coming back, drawing me back?
9's updated to Android 12 finally, and it's buggy as all get out. So
And I don't
now-
like their version of Android 12. It
Yeah.
looks just like Android 11. I'm like,
Yeah.
Android 11 was solid.
So
already. Leave it.
I might just switch. I don't know. I either get the OnePlus 10 or switch over to the Pixel Pro. I don't know.
I'm really waiting for some of the games that we play to really get behind.
Yeah, I
Tensor.
mean, well, gosh, if
it's
this
got
phone,
all the horsepower.
if this
in
phone
here,
takes
man.
off, because
that'll do it.
I think it will. I think this could be the catalyst to really get
Yeah.
developers to focus
And it's
on
not
this
like
chip.
games run badly on it, but
They're just
like,
not optimized.
They're not leveraging
Yeah.
I think
what
that's
the chip
kind of
can
how
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would describe it.
Yeah,
They're
they
just not
just-
quite there.
Yep.
So available for pre-order July 21st, shipping on the 28th, and in stores on the
in-stores,
28th.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Moving on, 7 and 7 Pro or
Do we
7
want-
Pixel 7.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing
yeah.
phones.
We'll just
Okay,
do
cool.
phones. Not a lot of detail there.
No.
We're looking at the screen because it's still new. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Whew,
it is pretty,
nice.
but the design language stays.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Metal
idea.
camera bump this time around, which
Yeah.
I like.
And it looks like, again, these are renders probably, but the camera bump is also part of the rails. So, like, the rails come around. Like, if you look at the Pixel 6 and the
They
Pro,
stop.
Glasses,
Yeah.
like
yeah, the glass hits the railing, whatever it is. And so it's nice to see that kind of be one piece. And I think having aluminum as the bar is way smarter than having a big, huge glass shade across the back.
But it's awesome though because
surprised
I mean,
that none of us have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Broken
my
it, yeah.
case, in your case, all these
yeah.
cases.
But Google got a lot of flack over this when the 6 came out, but I like it, and
Mine
it's
comes
so
up
reminiscent
around
of the
Nexus
Nexus
6P,
line.
baby.
But people this morning are already saying Google has kept the visor, and that's a good thing.
I
So
saw that
I'm
article
glad
out.
because to me this feels classic but innovative at the same time because they're not doing what everyone else is doing.
Yep. And now they've solidified it. Now you've got the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. Now the 6A's out. And they went ahead and said, here's a 7. Let's go ahead and look at it.
Yeah.
You've got a line of phones now that'll have this distinct look. No one else can come in and take that from you
like
now.
you look at
They've solidified
You look at a
themselves now.
Galaxy S, you usually know it's a Galaxy S.
I don't know.
People-
Sometimes I'm like, is that
Well,
a
that's true. It might
OnePlus?
be a
or-
Oppo or yeah. So
Yeah.
Xiaomi.
The 4. Yeah, the 4 could have been mistaken as an iPhone from
Yep.
some
Oh,
angles.
Yeah.
and clearly
for
that's
sure.
what they were trying to
Yeah.
kind of do.
So I love this.
But Apple's done a good job of that. I mean, Apple is they're marketing geniuses, and so like they did the same thing with the notch on their phone. Like as stupid as it looks, when you actually take it moment and look at it. It's so dumb, like to have this huge notch at the top. But it became an iconic thing, regardless. And this is kind of that way. Like at first, I was like, "Man, it's super derpy looking. It's really stupid."
But also, when you're
kind of getting used to it,
when your phone sets down, boom.
Yeah,
little things.
And now it's like, well, that's what pixels look like, and now it's the iconic thing for a pixel. So
rest
it's like
my finger on it every now and then.
There was nothing worse than that Galaxy I had, and then you sit it. I mean, it's a $1,200 phone.
Yeah. So. Tensor Gen 2 is all they said. Didn't give us any other stats.
That's about all we got. You got the back side of the phone, and the second generation of the Tensor.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they'll call it. I don't know if they'll name it.
Can you see if they did a 7 Pro?
He wants to know.
I want to know now because I thought they showed the images with the 2 different camera sets.
Maybe.
I thought so.
Yeah, they did because they said, and then for they did because they said, and for Pixel 7 Pro. They showed the second cut. That extra cutout is the Pro.
Yeah, I was gonna say the bottom one on the image there is the Pro.
Right.
Yeah.
So the one extra camera and stuff. Yeah. So
okay, you're right.
Whatever. No. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to clarify. Hurts my brain. Not knowing.
So wait, you remembered me, and you're right.
What is going on? What is happening?
I was thinking of it more like 2 different episodes, you forgot an employee, but you did remember 7 and 7 Pro. You got that, and you got that dialed.
It's all in there, just mixed up a little bit sometimes.
Just rattling around sometimes. You gotta let it settle.
Memory is no good. Yeah. So not many other details. They just said in the fall.
Fall,
October event.
Yep.
We'll see this phone. I love that they went ahead and just said, hey, here it is. Talk about getting out ahead of leaks.
They waited till August last year. This is another couple of months before. Like, go ahead and squash that part of the leak.
It's like everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah. It's not a question of whether it's coming. It's not a question that you're probably going to upgrade the Tensor chip. And it's not really that big of a question that, it's going to have the same looks. Well, now you've gotten out ahead of all that stuff that, frankly, doesn't matter that much in the end. Like, the real interesting part will be, are you going to fix the bugs? Is the fingerprint scanner better?
Yeah.
Are the cameras improved? Or that kind of stuff. And there'll be some stuff that'll come out. Leaks will come out about that stuff too. But we can skip all the here it is in renders and all that stuff. They kind of grab back the narrative for themselves there a little bit.
And I think there will still be hype. There will still be energy around this upcoming phone. Like
100%.
Like you said, there will be little things that will come out. But at least now, like you said, it's like, you kind of don't have to deal with all the bull crap of, we found this phone and we made some renders of it, which I like that stuff. It's fun, but
I do too. I love all the leak stuff,
but at least now we just kind of know. So it's good. It's good. Let's talk watch next.
Let's go Pixel Watch.
Yeah, let's go watch next. So this is one that I think we've all been really excited about. We've been talking about it on this podcast.
It was so cool because
exhausted.
Rick Osterloh is. I mean, he's a very charismatic guy, but
he got up on stage,
very professional, and he's very well spoken. This man was about to crawl out of his skin, waiting to just go.
And here it is.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, just grinning a lot.
Loved it.
And so but nothing. I don't think there was anything that we didn't know about it. The one thing they showed that was of interest to me was the Fitbit integrations. So instead of just showing a couple complications, they showed like the animations and stuff. And the cool part is like I've seen all of those animations on my Versa 3. Like the software they use on the new, like, it's not that way on the 2. We still have a Versa 2. Oh, something just happened there.
What'd it do?
Totally freaked out.
What'd it do, Andy Kane?
Oh, he's trying to zoom in on the watch.
But the that heartbeat complication on the Pixel Watch on the screen there that's what Fitbit looks like. But they showed all sorts of animations and stuff in the software that looks exactly like what you have on the Fitbit. And so it doesn't feel like a small bolted on thing. Like this is going to be really, really closely intertwined. And in the video earlier, kind of made the point like this will finally be a for people who like Fitbit and all of their stuff that they do. This is going to be the nice watch that we've not had as Fitbit people. Like the Versa 3 and the Sensor, as nice as it gets, and they're nice, they're fine, but they're not like, wow, this is a really nice watch. They're just okay. And so I don't think it's going to be cheap. They didn't say price.
No.
They didn't say what's inside it. They didn't say it's powered by such and such.
They showed the inside renders of the inside and said something about a custom designed, some kind of chip, but they
didn't call it Tensor.
Yeah, they didn't call it anything.
All the leaks show some sort of Exynos, probably similar to what's in the Galaxy Watch 4.
Which makes sense.
I think they should tweak one little core.
Call
or something.
it Tensor.
Call it Tensor.
Yeah.
Pay whatever licensing you need to call it Tensor. It needs to be that's what you need to do for a Pixel Watch. But the crown's there, the button's there, the nice rounded
display,
and on his wrist it looks really good.
Oh gosh,
nice.
it looks fantastic.
It was just cool to see it in a bunch of different ways. Like we've been looking at the same photos of this thing for a while.
Well, the Reddit leaks and all of that went down. The photos were good, and it was awesome to see those photos. But like when you just see a side shot of a watch, like it looks funky, and the shots that he had on his wrist, it's hard to tell.
Like the perspective was really
strange.
Strange.
It's always like he was taking weird photos, and so seeing it up on stage, seeing it on his wrist, like there were several shots where he was kind of holding his arms in front of him, and you can kind of see the profile of it.
It looks
because I was worried that it was going to be a little too dainty, or like it might.
Nah, it looked.
I mean, Rick's about my size, and I'm like, that watch looks incredible. Because like I have the 40 millimeter. Is it the 40? I have the small Galaxy Watch 4.
Yeah, I think it's 40.
And as far as wearing it when I want to track steps, it's totally fine. I love the watch, but it feels a little small compared to most of my analog watches. That thing looks perfect.
The proprietary bands look like they snap in cool. That was nice little animation.
Yeah, it turned to the side, then it clicked in and clipped in.
Which, like, on the Apple Watch, don't you press the little button and then slide them out?
They'll slide out left and right.
Left and okay,
Yeah, okay.
So, like, these, I wonder if it'll kind of go in both ways or if you'll have to snap it one way or whatever. I don't know. But they look nice. They just look well made. All of it just looks really well made, well thought out.
Yep.
The display, or they did say, tactile crown, so I hope the crown will have a little bit of,
feel, like
just
a mechanical
feel.
Just
a little bit of a nice tactile function to it, and just really impressed. Really impressed, and
he reiterated too, like the at a glance stuff. They said Google Maps with you can use it without your phone. So it means GPS and LTE will have to be there.
Oh, home. They're updating the home
Google
app.
Home app.
Oh yeah, like home controls on the watch. You can't do that on the Galaxy Watch right now. I haven't checked on the Wear watches, but I don't think it's a thing.
It's probably not a thing yet. That would be a great addition, and obviously Google Assistant's going to be.
I had
really good on it.
Had my Fossil plugged up on my dresser, sitting and charging. Display was on. Looked like it was charged up. I pulled it off, completely dead. Because I was gonna check and see if the home app was on there, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Because I never even tried.
Never even thought to, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, just have like the little swipe down or whatever option like you do on the phone. That's great.
Yeah, that'll be really
quick
cool.
Controls for home, like be able to turn off lights.
Well, and they said a couple times, like the new version of Wear OS. Did they say new, or were they just saying
Wear OS?
Wear
they said it
OS?
was like a streamlined. I put a couple quotes in my post. If you can pull that up.
Because it's not
this watch. They said they're taking the best of Fitbit and Wear OS. So this
is it going to be some hybrid OS?
I think
He said it's a
or is this just the new version of Wear OS?
Because that would be awesome too.
I don't think it was a custom either. It was just like a.
It was improved Wear OS UI with more fluid navigations and smart notifications.
Okay,
there you go.
Improved,
whatever that means. Yeah.
So yeah. And it could be their own take. I mean, that's what I think where they're going with Wear OS for right now. That's what Samsung's doing with the Galaxy Watch. Yeah. It's Wear OS, but it's Samsung's take on Wear OS. And I think other companies, if they want to do it, there's probably you could put plain Wear OS on your watch, or you're free to customize it.
Yeah, because honestly, I like what TIC does with a lot of their stuff. What my boy does with the TIC watch. If they take that and they combine it with Wear 3, I think it could be really good.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, there's available in the fall, no pricing, no stuff on the processor. Whatever,
I'm calling $299. That's what I'm calling.
Think so?
On the watch?
I'd like to see it there. I feel like it's gonna be $399.
Yeah, I think it'll be $399,
$499. I think it's gonna be in the Apple Watch.
Is LTE gonna be optional? We don't know, do we?
Yeah, if there's a model without LTE,
maybe 350 and 400, maybe.
Yeah. Be interesting to see
because
there are rumors that it have 5G on it too.
Right.
The thing said 4G. The actual official stuff said 4G.
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned it on stage. I think that was in some.
I don't think watches have any need for 5G at this point.
No,
from
a
4G. standpoint,
4G for what you're using it for.
Stream audio to it, maybe.
But then, heck, you could stream audio for 3G, with no problems. Like LTE is just fine for that stuff.
But what if I want to watch a bunch of movies on my watch?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit on an airplane, hold my arm like this the whole time.
Sit and watch a movie.
That'd be great.
No, you can't support it. You have to just hold it. What's up?
Good.
Just watching a movie on my Pixel Watch.
If I really want to get into it, I hold it right here. It's super sharp.
Yeah, but if your watch
can you
is
do that on your Apple Watch, Andy Cam?
Pixel Buds Pro with spatial audio, then you can do this and be inside the action.
Right.
It's immersive.
It is super immersive.
You like that segue there to the Pixel Buds?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Pixel Buds.
Pixel Buds.
This is the
Pixel
one.
Buds Pro.
I swung and totally whiffed on this.
Yeah, I think
you did.
I put an article the day before. I was like, "This is one for sure. We're not going to."
So when I wrote the I wrote the 6A article. I linked Robbie's and I went back and read it. And I'm like, man, we were off but it's like we mentioned.
The rumor showed up like 2 weeks ago.
And that when we got to looking yesterday, we were looking like how much hardware has actually been. There's been hardware featured. There's been Chromebooks featured. There's been all sorts of things featured. They just don't announce stuff. So we're like, as much as we'd love to see 4 or 5 products, let's be realistic. We might get one.
Yeah, we felt pretty confident with the 6A.
That's what made sense. So when they came out with all of this stuff, and then the Pixel Buds, because Robbie had done some digging in Google acquiring all of these audio file people and all this different patents and all this stuff. That's been going on for quite some time. So apparently the Pixel Bud Pros have been in the works for a while.
Yeah. This isn't just something they came up with last week.
There's some pretty serious engineering
and they look
awesome.
Here.
Yeah. They do. Great. And it looks like spec sheet wise, they're going to solve most of the problems with the Pixel Buds, which is great.
Thornless.
The case looks the same.
Thornless.
It's not the same, obviously, but the outside of it still has the Pixel Buds look, which is cool. The case has never been a problem. But yeah, they look more like little tubes, which Gabe's got like 47 pair of earbuds, and they all have that kind of look to them. Like if there's a little nub that sticks into your ear, and there's some bulk to it that just sits in your ear. There's no need for a round thing to have a spoke on it, to hold it in your ear. Like just let the mass of the earbud just kind of hold itself there. And so they've definitely moved to that look. Let's see what they didn't say anything about connectivity, but
at one point they said improved connectivity, but that's super ambiguous.
And they gave no specifics on what they did to improve anything, if they did anything, whatever. Right. But again, you got to think the Pixel Buds A. I've been using them actually quite a bit at the desk. I got them out to try. I think when that rumor came out, I was messing with them. And I've just been using them when I need to pop my earbuds in, just because I can jump between devices really easily. It's nice and fast. I've not had a single connection issue with them. And did you have connection issues with the Pixel Buds A?
No, they were fine.
Okay. Yeah. So I think maybe they just solved that already.
Yesterday at the gym, my Pixel Buds.
Oh, they're trash, man. I'm sorry.
They're
awful.
My left earbud just stopped working. I had to go put them back in the case, take them out, and put them back in, and then they started working again. And then they were still cutting in and out.
They're super frustrating.
And my phone was literally sitting on a box literally right behind me.
Yeah, they were super frustrating. The A's were good for their price, but they dropped some of the things that made the Pixel Buds great. Yeah. Like the swiping gestures were so awesome.
Love it. I use that all the time. That's the reason I still use the regulars.
They made the Thorn a little better in the A. It was softer, so it didn't hurt. Like I can wear I've worn those in the last week twice for over an hour and not really had any pain in that area. But they're missing features and they still have a lot of lag. If you're viewing anything that's not a video, there's just very discernible lag, like a full second worth of lag that just doesn't need to be a thing. I've got $65 Wise Buds Pro that a company that basically makes a little bit of everything made some earbuds, and they don't have lag.
I mean, my daily drivers that I play PUBG with are $25, and the lag is
the Bluetooth tech is at the point right now where the little bit of lag you do get from across the board is what everything should have. Like my AirPods Pro, They all have it's very little, but it's not enough that you can't play a game with it or whatever. The latency is manageable and in control. It's what you expect from modern Bluetooth stuff. So the fact that the Pixel Buds and Pixel Buds A couldn't get over this hurdle, I think my guess is, I've never looked it up, but I bet you the Pixel Buds A have a lot of the same connectivity stuff, Bluetooth wise. I bet you the stacks are the same for both of them. And Bluetooth is just, since the Pixel Buds were originally announced in 2018 or 19?
18.
Whatever, the Pixel 4.
That was
became the Pixel 4.
That was the New York trip.
So yeah, that Bluetooth's come a long way, obviously,
this
and
just
become
says
more standardized.
5.0. So I mean, but if they're 5.0 and they're done properly, that's fine. They don't need to be 5.2. 5.0 is perfect,
right,
if the sensors are right.
Yeah, so hopefully that won't be an issue, but everything else has been addressed, I think. So, I mean, they have active noise cancellation, and they're using machine learning and AI and stuff to
help it even better,
make it better. So whatever that means, it can discern noise and knock it out.
Some
and
of the pass-through stuff that it's doing.
Yeah, so hopefully their pass-through will be good. So like if you're wanting to hear the outside world, kind of again,
so they talked
AirPods
about the
Pro.
enhanced transparency mode and all that stuff. So
and then they're using beamforming and machine learning to be better while you're on phone calls, blocking out everything except your voice, and Google's gotten really good at that kind of stuff. And so I think the phone call / because the audio quality of the Pixel Buds has always been really good. So I mean, you add noise canceling to that, like good noise canceling to that. I think it could be an awesome set of earbuds.
Yeah.
The battery life sounds crazy. 7
hours.
11
with
without,
active.
7 with, 31 with the case. So
yeah, I mean those are big numbers. But they're bigger earbuds. So there's more room for battery. So I mean, it's just like, okay, cool.
3 colors or 4 colors?
4. Lemongrass, coral, fog, and charcoal.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they changed lemongrass from the Limoncello.
Limoncello. Was that what they were saying?
That was the leak.
The leak was that they were limoncello.
I don't know. I'm happy with that. I mean, we talked about this. $179 was too much for the original Pixel Buds. If the original Pixel Buds had worked as intended and had noise canceling, $179 would have been fine. At $199, these had better come out of the gate and do everything that they said and have no lag. If they do that, they will be worth every penny of it.
There are 2 other things too that we didn't mention. The volume EQ thing, like so.
Oh yeah.
Basically, at lower levels, being able to push the bass up a little bit, like being smart enough to figure out, like, hey, when you turn volume down, you lose these things. Let's bump those things up, and then as volume comes up, fixing.
And they made a point to say, tuned by our in-house engineers.
Yeah, all these people we stole, poached, hired.
So that again is just going to make them sound better.
Yeah.
Again, I've never really complained too much about the way they sounded. Like the audio quality's always been great.
Yeah.
I think. And then they did point out with the noise canceling that earbuds, it's hard to get earbuds that fit every single ear, and so there's going to be a time where the most comfortable fit for you maybe doesn't perfectly seal out all the outside noise.
Was interesting.
I'm using machine learning and stuff to be able to kind of noise cancel some of that stuff for you too, so they can, even if the seal isn't physically perfect in your ear, it can offset some of that
so
stuff.
Instead of just using the mics to grab what's outside, it's like if there's a gap, it's actively looking for areas where sound might be getting in, I guess is how it's doing it. So
I don't know.
They sound really smart.
Again, if all the stuff they said, it ends up being like translating to the actual experience, these are going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I don't care to pay $200 for a good set of headphones. I use them all the time.
Right.
I paid $250 for my AirPods Pro. And after the amount of use I've gotten out of those things, I don't regret paying for them. Like, they're awesome.
Yeah.
But they've become the measuring stick for me of wireless, pocketable earbuds. They're good.
Did you have the Galaxy, any of Sony or Samsung's?
I've tried 3 of them.
Yeah.
What was the?
What about the Sony?
I tried the Bean ones. I tried the regular Galaxy Buds, the Galaxy Buds Pro. And then I tried the latest Galaxy Buds 2 that are kind of like the Pros.
Yeah.
That none of theirs ever have fit in my ear that well. And once I get them in there, like, especially the new Galaxy Buds, I had a hard time getting them out. And so
because they're rounded and low profile.
Yeah, they're so round. It's like so like.
Yeah, that's strange.
Now, have you ever used Sony's flagships? Because those seem to be like the other than AirPods, those seem to be like these are
so chunky.
The bar, really.
Their earbuds are huge.
Yeah.
So I've never liked them.
Yeah.
But
Let's take one more quick break for an ad, and we're going to come back because I want to talk through some of the the fast pair stuff that they mentioned, and then we can talk phone hub and then the tablet. Okay, we'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. So a couple other things we want to talk through. There's one more piece of hardware. But before we get to that, kind of talking about some of the Bluetooth connectivity stuff, they had a nice little section about fast pair, and now that they have this ecosystem, like really reinforcing, hey, if you buy our stuff, it all kind of works together, and like you open up your Pixel Buds and they pair to everything. And the one thing that I thought was interesting was the I forget what they call it something whenever it was like it can dynamically decide whether to answer the phone on your Chromebook or on your phone.
I think they were talking about that in the fast pair section. I don't remember.
I think maybe they just grouped it in with
it was in the
pair.
Android section where they were talking about things that are connected with fast pair. I should be able to decide. I love that. All products are about you should be able to do whatever you want.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
I should.
Yes, I should. I have control over this technology.
Here's a trophy.
Yeah.
What did I do? Nothing.
You're special.
Here.
You're special.
You're
Sorry.
amazing.
Let's
But yeah, like it. So it's like you should have the control to be able to say, I'm watching this on my tablet, but I'm ready to watch on my TV, or I want the sound to be on that thing. To just you select it, and so the idea with fast pair is that, and again, we've said this a few times already in this, like Google's going, okay, we got to make sure this thing does this because Apple's already done this. Like Apple passes their own, if your AirPods or Max or Pro or whatever, I don't remember what are the overhead ones? Max?
The big ones?
AirPod Max.
Max.
Yeah.
Why do they call them AirPods? This is so stupid.
They're not pods.
No, pods. Not pods.
I guess they are pods.
They're just larger pods.
They're just a large pod.
I think Air Cans would have been a much better name.
Apple Air Cans.
Apple Air Cans. Please do a mock-up of
Air
the
cans.
air cans.
What was their router thing? Wasn't it the airport or something like
Airport,
that? Yeah,
yep.
it was no dumber than
Air cans.
airport.
Oh yeah.
Well, everybody called the one Mac. Oh my gosh, I'm
The
gonna
cheese
forget
grater?
the name. No, before that, the little tubular one.
Oh, the trash can.
The trash can.
Mhm.
I forget the actual
Mac
name
Pro.
of that. It was just Mac Pro.
Yeah,
I thought.
Mac Pro, yeah.
Okay.
Anywho, so Apple does a good job of making sure that those if Andrew Camera over here decides he's listening to audio on his phone and wants to instead listen to audio from his computer, just
Drop down, click it, boom,
boom.
moved.
Now, it's just an output. It's an output source, and that's because it's tied to an account level thing. It's not just tied to that device. And
So I want to make sure I'm clear on this. So Andrew Camera, he's listening to music that's coming from his iPhone,
on his earbuds.
and he wants to just move that to his Mac.
No, I'm talking about like if I started a video on my Mac, I'm like, oh, I want to listen to this on the earbuds instead of what I'm listening to on my phone.
Okay.
The audio output on his Mac just has the option for his AirPods.
It's not like you're moving the video necessarily. You're just saying whatever's on my Mac, that's what I want to listen to. I want to, without having to click into my Bluetooth settings
and pair
it again on my Mac.
reconnect.
You can just drop down.
Because
click the phone.
your headphones aren't simultaneously connected to multiple things.
Nah,
They're just
yeah.
there, ready if needed. Okay,
because
got
if you
it.
think
Got it.
about the Bluetooth stuff on any device, is like you got a MAC address and you know,
Yeah,
all that
absolutely.
stuff's there. It's already right there. It's just Bluetooth has been a clunky workaround for a long time.
Yeah.
So you got to go, oh, device, I want you to connect to this thing. It's no different. It's just now on an account level. It's just like connect back to that same pair of headphones that are connected and stored. The storage connection is still there in your account.
Right.
Yeah, what I'm hoping that these new the Pixel Buds do is, so on the AirPods they will automatically switch between your devices depending on if you, like when I'm playing PUBG with you guys, I'll play there, and then when we're loading, I want to edit because I do work. I don't know if you guys do that, and I'll try to go to the computer
What?
and it'll automatically want to switch my AirPods to that connection, which I'm hoping that there's a way to stop that on the Pixel Buds, because that's a little annoying when you're trying to work and play.
Yeah.
Or
So
at
is
least
it
there
is
should
it
just
like
be an option, like
turn it
game
on.
modes or not.
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense.
But who knows?
Yeah.
If they just have the ability to let me just on my Chromebook, when I click the audio out, internal, the monitor I'm hooked to,
Or your buds.
Pixel Buds,
Yeah.
just click it.
Yeah.
And that's the idea of FastPair and what it will be capable of. And obviously it works between Android devices too.
And this is where, like, obviously you love your AirPods Pro. Like, they're a fantastic set of headphones. But having some of these extra little features, if the Pixel Buds Pro deliver and they have low latency, good,
I can play a game on,
good ANC, and then they can pair with your Chromebook and pair with your phone and your watch and everything. Like,
the other thing, the Find My Pixel Bud.
that
I'm
was
99% sure the original Pixel Buds, it only finds the case, and they have to be in the case. This will allow you to locate an individual bud, which is awesome because when you lose one, it's usually my wife, when she's at home, she always has one earbud in. She'll alternate back and forth, but she always leaves one in the case because she's usually listening to her crime murder podcast.
Crime murder.
That's a whole different conversation.
It's not a murder podcast.
I'm just kidding.
It's not a crime
murder.
True crime.
It's
a murder crime.
True murder crime is what it's called. No, I'm just kidding.
Gabe just made up a new genre.
She listens to a lot of different podcasts and YouTube videos about all kinds of different stuff. She's very intelligent. She has 2 more college degrees than I do. I don't have any college degrees, by the way. She... what was I talking about?
One earpod.
It's not unusual. Yeah, it's not unusual for her to be in the middle of something or doing something, and for whatever reason, take one out and set it down, and then 10 minutes later, crap, where did I put that? Or it falls down the couch or whatever.
Did they say something like it'll ring it? Like,
yeah, because you can ring the original ones, but it's just the case.
How does it ring it?
It has a speaker in it. It's the earbuds. No, they just crank up to it, and it's a high pitch.
I've never done it. I need to test
they tell you, like, be sure these are not
in your ear.
Yeah, it will damage your hearing.
Well, with the in-ear sensors they have, it should be disabled.
It's in somebody's ear. You'd do that.
I would.
I remember the Pixel Buds. Whenever you would ring them, it would bring that.
But that should totally be disabled when they're in your ear.
Well, that's like if somebody stole them and they have them in their ear.
I'll get you.
It'd be like that scene from Doctor Strange. No spoilers. We won't say anything. Yeah, that was
okay. So last piece of hardware, and this was a very quick tease, but the Pixel tablet.
Yeah,
that's the name we have right now.
Like everything else they announced. I mean, the Pixel 7 was kind of like, that was weird. Didn't expect that. But this was the only true curveball, like in my opinion. That
the Pixel Buds were a surprise.
But it's not like we didn't know they were coming.
Right.
We just did not expect them.
Expect them to say
no one expected the Spanish Inquisition.
No, and what's funny is we got an embargoed email.
You guys got to read this stuff. You got one job.
It was like 13 things to know about Android. I'm like, cool. That's this is basically one of many blog posts that they sent us.
It could have said we're deprecating Android, and we would not have known because we didn't read it.
But it's like 13 things to know because everything else is like 5 things to know about this. That's the blog post they put out. So it's like, cool. It's going to talk about all the new features they're talking about for Android 13. It's not that big of a deal.
Sent over to Joanna. Hey, write this up.
So she's writing it. She's like, did you all see this? And she's highlighting.
We didn't get
all
the press assets until after the keynote started, so we didn't know. We didn't have pictures. It wasn't like we had this stuff. Oh,
like
hey,
this
look,
little image right here.
None of that was in existence when we went into I/O yesterday. We had 2 emails, and that was it.
But in that email, it was one sentence. Today we launched the Pixel Watch. We're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, we know for sure that'll be there.
Yeah.
Today we announced Pixel 6a. Okay, cool. We know that's going to be there. But it's also said today we launched the Pixel tablet, and I'm like, what? And I think something in there said something about the Pixel Buds too.
A new version of.
And so we knew
a new operating system or something is what it said.
No, so it's an enhanced Android tablet experience or something like that. Yeah.
So
Fuchsia. Fuchsia.
So
it's Android.
We knew this stuff was coming, but we just didn't have the little bit that we had was not any real detail.
Yeah.
It was just enough to know. They are going to say something about it. So when they are like, and next up we'll have the Google hardware team, like, like here comes all of it, and that's what happened.
It was a parade.
But the Pixel tablet,
interesting.
Yeah, I'm not interested at all. I actually think it looks like a relic from like 2015.
Yeah, I'm interested in what it
design.
means for what Google's doing, as far as what we've been talking about, how they are getting really good at integrating their services with hardware, with everything that you do, because that was. When Rick announced it, it does. It looks very antiquated. It kind of actually, now that I look at it, it kind of reminds me of like the Acer Tab 10.
Yes, that
white.
plastic back.
Yeah. So, yeah. Found an article from Android Central from a few years ago, from 2 years ago, talking about the Pixel C was still the best Android tablet ever made. And if you've ever held one, you would know why. It was ultra premium. It was incredible. The keyboard, it's the only tablet keyboard I've ever used that was actually really good. So they launched this thing, and you're like,
what's that?
What is that? That doesn't look like a Pixel C. It doesn't look premium. It looks like a kid's toy.
Yeah, I mean, and then granted, they showed us the edges of it basically, and then you see it from the front. It has huge bezels.
Huge.
It looks like the older iPads. So right. I'm not really sure what's going on
so
with that, but it's not going to be available till 2023.
But if I published this morning, if you go look, 9 to 5 had written a while back that whatever their inside sources at Google said that Google was working on a detachable smart display of sorts. They didn't technically say it was going to be called a Nest Hub. They just said it's some kind of smart home detachable tablet thing. This thing that Rick announced yesterday has pogo pins on the back, not on the bottom where you would expect them to be for a keyboard.
Plus and they made sure in that one little
angle
when it rolled, and the reflection was on the pogo pins, so you could see it clearly.
But the Pixel C didn't use it. It had a Bluetooth keyboard. The Slate had pogo pins on the bottom. And this thing, if you look at it from the front, I put the image in my article. If you look at it from the front, you would swear it's like a smart display. It looks like a Nest Hub.
Has that look to it for sure.
So this is just my 2 cents. My bet is that this is the tablet / smart home device that Google is working on, which is why this is not going to be meant to compete with Samsung Galaxy Tabs or anything like that. This is more of a Lenovo Smart Tab M8, which will dock. And it'll have a big speaker on the base, so you have really great audio. It'll do all the cool Google Home stuff that they were talking about with the,
recognizing your face.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. No hot words needed. It recognizes your face if your face match and everything's turned on.
This is updates to the Hub Max.
Yeah, basically. Hub Max. So you look at it, and it knows it's you. Since you're accounts linked to that, you just ask it a question. You don't have to say, "Hey, G," or anything like that. My guess is that this is going to be a next iteration of the Nest Hub family, even though it's called a Pixel. So it's going to be a tablet, which it's going to have a Tensor chip. So
they did say it'll have Tensor.
Yeah, it's going to be powerful enough to be a good little tablet. It's not going to be a Galaxy at all, but it'll be good for, hey, we're getting ready to plop down on the couch and watch some TV or whatever. I'm going to grab that so I can scroll through some news.
Yeah. Right.
But now I can put it up here, and it's become my all-in-one home controller. It has great audio because it's sitting on a detachable base that has a huge speaker in it, and it does all the things that Google Home does. Google Nest, whatever.
And the Nest Hubs now are starting to add like apps and stuff. Like, we got I got my son the $65 deal that was going.
Yeah, the Gen 2
Nest for the Hub. Gen 2, and like you can put apps on it and stuff now, and so they're moving in that direction with Nest Hub anyway. And so if they're seeing kind of a convergence between, this thing's going to be able to run some apps and some games and stuff like that, well, why not kind of bring the tablet into that existence? And now you've got a device that we've talked about for years at this point, this idea of having a dockable thing that is the smart display for your home, but when you want to pick it up and use it as a tablet, it can be that as well. Like
it's running Android. Purpose. You can have all your Android apps on it.
Yeah, because Lenovo sent us one of theirs a couple of years ago, and the concept's great. It just at that point in time, the software wasn't there because it was supposed to transition between a pure Android tablet to a kind of an assistant device when you docked it, but that was all really janky. The home controls never really worked right, and it wasn't a powerful enough tablet to begin with.
Right.
If this has a Tensor chip and has enough RAM and it runs well enough, it could be a good Android tablet and a really great smart display.
Well, how big is the display on the Max?
Big. 10.1.
So imagine that base, the base that is a speaker. Imagine just being able to pop that
the display off.
That's display
what
off.
that looks like.
Have you heard the Max?
Just in store.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to hear it like in.
Let's get one. We just need to get one to have.
We do,
around.
Especially now that they're adding.
Yeah,
some new
we
stuff.
need to get one.
We just need to have one.
Or email our rep and tell them to
send
us one along with a IO swag bag.
Yeah.
And four pairs of Jordans.
And a pair of shoes for Andy Cam. The man needs more shoes.
I don't think that's true.
So that was kind of the point of my post, was just that Google had a hit with the Pixel C, but Android wasn't ready for tablets at that point in time. Google's working very hard to make Android a tablet OS. but I don't think that's where they're aiming with this device.
It was a little strange to me that Rick said there's a lot of momentum in the developer
energy around tablets. No,
in the developer community right now. I was like, maybe they know something we don't, but I feel like
it's tooth and like they're trying to pull teeth to get developers to make their apps work on big screens. We know we're Chromebook guys, and Google themselves made a big deal during the Android portion.
We've updated
20 of our apps finally have a tablet interface.
So you're just now doing it?
2022. You just now got around to it. And there's a lot of energy. No, there's not. You are trying to create some, and that's cool.
They were like, look at TikTok.
and by the way, during that, I was like, ooh, I'm going to see. If you get TikTok from the Play Store now on your Chromebook, it automatically does the PWA.
Oh, interesting.
It's
cool.
One of those packages.
Because we kind of were talking about that. We were like, well, why don't you just install the PWA for half these? But that's cool.
Yeah, almost all of them on a Chromebook, the PWA looks better, functions better, is better.
Yeah, so a couple other quick things. Phone Hub. A couple updates that they talked about. I want to mention the LumaFusion stuff too. That was in the.
I'm going to write an article about that.
The keynote you watched. So the Phone Ho. I'm thinking about the air conditioning that just kicked on. So I'm gonna go tweak that. You all talk about Phone Hub.
He can't stand it. Anywho. So Phone Hub, none of this is new for if you are around our website. Like, it's not stuff that we didn't know about, but they're finally making it public and like, hey, it's coming soon. The whole Esh thing, basically, where communication apps will display on your Chromebook, basically as part of the Phone Hub. So instead of putting the WhatsApp web client or the I guess Discord would fall in. I don't know. I don't know how they'll choose.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends
apps.
on.
But you know, basically those messages apps that work with this, you'll be able to just see the message come on your phone, and a little, they show it like popping up from the bottom, and you can reply and answer to that thread, and then close that thing back
and
out.
we weren't really sure exactly how this was going to work. I think 9 to 5 got it working at one point or something, but we've written a lot about what we're calling Esh, which is the project name. They never mentioned that name at the I.O. because no one cares. But from what I'm understanding, it was just a way to mirror your phone, what was going on your phone, onto your Chromebook. And we weren't sure to what extent that was going to be. They made it very clear yesterday that this is for like messaging apps and stuff. So you'll get a little toast notification just like you would any other notification on your Chromebook. But when you click it, it just kind of accordions up, and you have like what looks like a phone display, and it's whatever that app is. You interact, you hit send, and then it's gone.
So like if you click call right there, if you click the video call
hopefully incoming calls evenally, like
it'll all
that's happening eventually.
Same thing. So you'll get a notification down there that you're receiving a call. You'll be able to just take it right there.
Yeah.
Now whether you'll be able to like make calls from there, I don't know, and I don't think Esh
is
going to give you the ability to begin a new conversation either.
Yeah, because
it's all about replying.
It's all about replying, and then the phone call flag that is there is all about receiving and incoming calls.
And I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know until it's there and I actually try it. I don't really know how useful to me that's going to be.
Sure.
Their point during the presentation was like, if you open your web clients for all these things, then those conversations can get lost. I'm like, but at least 50% of the time, I'm going to look at a message that came in, but then I'm going to respond and check other threads while I'm in there. Like, I'm trying to imagine how I would use something like Discord, where we're in all these different servers and threads, if I only am using it to respond at one time and then closing it down. Like, that just doesn't even seem beneficial to me at all. But I don't know.
Yeah, why not just
maybe it's more of, hey, I'm on my Chromebook doing something, and it wasn't I didn't go sit down and open, because every morning I open up, make sure all my messages are open. If you don't have those things opened up, and then it's a quick response.
That makes sense.
I get that. I don't think this is going to be a replacement for putting WhatsApp or Discord on your Chromebook.
This isn't necessarily mirroring your entire phone and all your messages and everything. Yeah,
because if it was that, it's like, well, okay, that's fine. I guess I can open those all up on my phone. But that feels.
I'm trying to remember the example that 9 to 5 had. They got it working, but it was a chat app. I can't remember what it was though. It might have been just like messages or something. Now that I think about it.
And again, like messages,
which is also
on the
weird.
Chromebook is so good,
and it comes pre-installed now. So it's like,
just use that.
No.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I don't know. I turn off my Phone Hub phone notifications. I don't even want those, because everything I'm getting notified by on there
is
like what they'll need to do is make sure that like on the Chromebook that there's a list of things I allow Esh to
and not have duplicate
route
crap.
my phone calls. Sure, that'd be awesome. Yes, please do that. Route
Now
my phone calls
the
through.
camera roll thing will be pretty cool. I mean, it's great. Nearby share is awesome, and now that you will soon be able to share stuff with yourself without having to do the actual like
just
process.
click it as it goes.
But to be able to snap a photo and then it's right there in your shelf.
Yeah, because I use
about
that
it.
a lot of times. The little tote area. That's kind of what this will be like. It'll be like a little tote thing. You know, I'll save an image, and even in WordPress, I just click that open, and I just grab the image, drop it right into the editor, and it's there. You know, it's a handy tool, and so the camera roll will be the same thing.
Yeah.
So those are the two of the bigger updates. Again, not stuff that we didn't know was coming, but it's cool to see it in action, and for them to say, yes, this is coming. And then FastPair, obviously, is going to be rolling out soon.
But it's cool
for
to see
Chromebooks.
Google kind of come full circle. They've spent a lot of time focusing on the better together during this I/O, which was something they started years ago, and then it kind of fell by the wayside. But now they've gotten back to this mindset of everything should work together seamlessly, and that's kind of their focus. So.
Well, especially now that you have a nice portfolio of
a
products.
portfolio.
Right.
I want to quickly mention the LumaFusion stuff because I'm excited about this. We had a chat with the LumaFusion folks, a while ago, 6 months or a year ago.
Last summer, I think.
And was really excited about some of that was when they first announced that they were working on a very early version for Chromebooks. And this is, for those that don't know, this is some pretty robust video editing software that has existed for iPad and iOS for a long time. Andy Cam, you said this was where you first learned to edit video, right? It was on LumaFusion.
Yeah.
On an iPad or on
an iPad.
Yeah.
So it fit the whole. I mean, what we're doing now with like Final Cut, I was doing that with LumaFusion. Not as high, high quality there, but it fit exactly what I needed and helped me learn that technique.
The basics, that sort of that style of video editing. So they clearly have made apps for large screens. For a long time, and they're doing that for Chromebooks. They gave us an install to try on Mac because they're working on the keyboard support for Mac, because obviously everything up until this point for them was touch, right? So now they're trying to integrate keyboard. So through the Mac Store app store on Mac, what is it called?
It's still
just the App Store. You can install LumaFusion now, and I've been meaning to do that. So now that all this has happened, I want to do that, make a little video about why I'm excited about LumaFusion coming to Chromebooks.
The Chromebook, there's another session today. It's all about gaming on Chromebooks, so we need to watch that and check it out. But the Chromebook session from yesterday basically they talked about the stuff we just talked about, but then they talked about some showcasing some different applications that are really good, and they highlighted LumaFusion and showed it running like person sitting there editing video on a Chromebook. I'm like,
so this isn't like some one-off where LumaFusion's like working on it. This is something that is deeply collaborated with Google, and it's coming, and it's going to be huge.
Well, we couldn't talk about this back whenever I had my chat with them, but they were like, like we have it running on devices in the office right now. We're working on it. Like, it's not like this is conceptual.
Right. It's like a thing we want to get done.
Yeah.
Adobe Rush.
Right. Get out of here.
Every time I get an email from them, because we're on the list now.
It's like, gotta check it.
Embargoed info. Here's what's coming from Adobe. Not Rush. Don't care.
New pen tips.
Who cares?
Don't care.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that get very excited about that. But
great.
Yeah.
Remember sitting in that,
Rush.
that PR thing that they did? Oh, man.
Oh, man, that was rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
It's rough.
Yeah.
2 hours of mind-numbing awfulness to realize that they're not even going to talk about Adobe Rush on Chromebooks.
Nope. Did they say anything about like what types of devices that this will run on right now or anything? Yeah.
Nope. But
all right, we need to
go ahead and bet. I don't know. Maybe it's some of the ARM devices, because the architecture might line up well. But they'll probably push it towards higher end.
Yeah.
11th, 12th gen Intel devices. So, but hopefully by the end of the year, we'll see it. It's going to be you add that, and then Steam Gaming comes out of alpha, and you've shored up a couple of the big holes in the whole like creative part
Will
of
the Pixel tablet run LumaFusion?
It's going to be Android. They're making it for Android, and then
so it will. Yeah.
But the idea is LumaFusion for Android tablets and Chromebooks, basically.
Yeah.
So that means adding the keyboard stuff in for Chromebooks,
right? not just touch.
And then
screen.
working on good Android tablets. So that tells me the ARM architecture is going to be supported pretty well.
So let's get it installed. Let's get it installed on that Mac, and let's capture the video, edit it in that app.
Oh yeah,
and like whole thing.
Like this
everything.
This is what it'll be like.
Yeah.
Assuming.
Try to do our graphics the best we can. Do an intro the best we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be dope.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
Okay. Anything else from IO? That was a lot.
There's so much more from IO.
We could sit and talk. We could have a whole nother episode about just the software
casting to
side.
Chromebooks at some point.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to cast.
Which
to
I
a
don't
Chromebook.
think that will be a retroactive thing. That will. I'm not sure. I mean,
No idea.
I don't know if there's anything in a Chromebook that you,
Nothing unusual. I mean, it would just be the cast protocol have to be part of the. It's just Wi-Fi. You know, so it just has to become a
I
receiver.
guess a firmware update to make the Wi-Fi jam. I guess that could work. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see.
Because
But
all it is a ping, basically. So once it says, "Oh, you want me to go get this," and it goes and gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could 100% be a retroactive thing.
Yeah.
And there were times where we were like, "Man, it'd be nice if you could cast to a Chromebook, like Chrome bases specifically, like that HP."
Yeah.
You know, be like, "Oh, yeah, let's watch this," and just cast over to it. It would be really sweet.
That would be dope. Yeah, if you had one set up in your kitchen or living room or whatever.
Yeah, like
or even like if you're like,
devices.
"Hey, I've got this video I want you to watch."
Oh, throw it up.
Throw it at you.
Cast it to my Chromebook, which is connected to my huge display.
Yeah, it's done.
Kind of a cool thing.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. Yeah, so there was obviously a lot from I.O. There are still some sessions today that we need to maybe check out and write about. If you were interested in any of this stuff that we've talked about, you can dig into all the details over at chromeunbox.com. We have a recap video that we did, so if you don't want to sit through the 3-hour presentation as 2 hour. Oh, yeah, well, the whole thing was 3 hours, but they had the intro at the end and the thing. The one I was trying to download was 3 dang hours.
Yeah, they did
that
a whole
was fun.
hour before.
Had a DJ.
We're gonna do that different next time. So if you don't want to sit through that, like Robbie's son, who said he didn't.
I wanted to watch it, but it was 3 hours.
Yeah. So if you don't want to sit through that, we have a quick recap. We mainly hit the hardware, and we included a couple of the Chromebook things, the phone hub stuff, a couple of the security things, the password stuff, trying to eliminate passwords.
Yeah, Google Wallet.
Google Wallet was in there. I mean, so yeah, go check that out. But then obviously over on the website, we're going to be covering down on anything and everything that's that we think is cool. There's obviously a lot that comes from this conference.
Yeah,
that
there will be
is, super nitty gritty.
Yeah, we'll be getting into some of the smaller things. I would say, I bet you through next week.
Yeah,
as we just kind of parse through, like, because
that was
Google
cool.
Wallet
What was
deserves
that?
a post.
Oh yeah, 100%. The password stuff needs a post.
Password stuff. Gosh, there's just so much.
Yeah,
so much stuff.
So much fun stuff. And
Thanks,
then obviously
Google.
you can go. You can go. I'm assuming if you weren't registered, you could still probably go get registered and check out all the sessions.
Yeah.
What is it? Where did those live?
I just type if you
just type in Google I/O. You'll find it.
Google I/O.
Google I/O 2022. You'll get to the website.
Yeah,
and they're all there. They're all on YouTube though too. So under the Google Developers channel or Google's channel.
Yeah. There you go.
They're both there.
But I think that's it for today. We appreciate Andy Cam being here.
I'm glad you remembered me, and I just.
Okay, and he's gone. All right. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you all next week. See ya. Hey, everyone. One last thing before you all head out. We appreciate you all watching the Chromecast on YouTube. This is something we've started doing here recently, and we really enjoy doing it. One thing you can do to help us out a lot is go down there and click the subscribe button. If you do it, it's going to make Andy Cam really happy. And when we hit 10,000 subscribers, we're going to give away a Chromebook. So make sure to go down there and click subscribe before you head out.